Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Troy Fullerton with Bilingual Barrier Busters. And before I get into this evening's tip for advancing on your bilingual journey and acquiring the skills you want to acquire in your target language, I want to remind everybody that we have a new Patreon site. There's more than one way to become a bilingual barrier buster. And right now we have an early bird special going on for only $2.50 a month. You can be a bilingual barrier buster Patreon supporter. So the website is in the description for how to get over there and sign up. But I wanted to let everybody know about that. And of course, I wanted to remind you that if you like what you're seeing, give this video a like. Also, make comments. It really helps the algorithm. Meanwhile, I'm glad to see you here tonight. So, let's talk about this. You know, everything that we do along the journey for acquiring our second language or third language is important. We practice pronunciation. We practice production. We study grammar. We study vocabulary. It all matters. It's all important. But there is one thing that you can do that is a real powerhouse that can really make a difference when it comes to bringing it all together and really trying to further your skills and really trying to make progress with your studies. And that is reading. Reading is a magic bullet here. Now, don't get nervous. I didn't say you had to go out and read novels. But stop and think about it. Reading is one of the most effective things you can do to develop your second language skills. In the first place, when you read, you pick up new vocabulary in context. You also pick up new grammar. You can examine the way that words are used, the way that grammar puts words together. You can see how it's used, and because reading is a passive skill, you can look at it over and over again from different angles. You can really stop and think through, why are things being said the way they're being said? And you can stop and take note of it and look words up later, ask about the grammar that you're seeing. If you hear something said, you've got one shot at understanding it. And even if you try to remember what you said, even if you try to remember what you heard somebody say, you might be fuzzy on exactly how they express that, unless you have it recorded or something. You know, it's still beneficial, but you might be limited in how much you can get out of that. But that's not the case with reading. That's not the case with reading. With reading, you've got it in front of you. You can go back and look at it again. And the other thing is, we have so much material available to us now, especially with the internet. Now, naturally, at first, you're going to be limited in how much you can read, but we can all start somewhere. Let's just take a newspaper written in our target language. Oh, and by the way, let's remember that nearly every newspaper out there, of any size at all, has got a website, and you can access that information on the website. In fact, a lot of things that you can read over the internet, you can read in your native language and then go and read about the same thing in your target language. But we'll talk about that more later. Let's just get back to newspapers or newspaper sites. Maybe at first all you can do is try to decipher the headlines. Maybe from there, you're going to go and look at subtitles. Maybe you're going to look at captions on pictures. You're getting started somewhere. Then maybe you'll find something you're highly interested in. Maybe you've read about it in your native language. You already know a little bit about what it's going to say. And maybe you'll dive into that article and just kind of work on the first paragraph. Just try to get something from that. Maybe you'll go and look at sales ads, comics. Maybe you can go over and read the editorials. They're usually written in more natural language. Now, along the way, as you're doing this, of course, you're looking at the vocabulary, you're looking at the grammar, but you're also taking note. You can write down things that you run into. You can look those words up later. And if you've got a teacher, you've got somebody you're talking to that you're regularly in contact with, to help you with your studies, you can ask them about the grammar. You can ask them about word usage. You can ask them about things, and then you need to take it a step further. Right away, you need to try to find an excuse to use those expressions yourself in conversation with somebody else, in conversation with your tutor, just in something you write. Try to use it in a different context and make it your own. Now, sometimes you're going to do that and make mistakes. It's not going to work out. That's okay. That's okay. You're just learning. You're just learning. But the thing is, you really are learning. And that's the point. So there is nothing like reading to have that big of an impact on your studies. You just, I need to stop talking about it because I could go on and on and on about it. Now, I've talked about newspapers, but like I said, the internet is just absolutely full of things of interest. You can read something in your native language, say, let's just say on a site like maybe Wikipedia, where you're reading about something you're interested in. I'm not promoting Wikipedia, but I'm just saying, for example, that's a site that you can read about something and then flip over, hit the little button there, and go find your target language and read about it in your target language. That's an excellent way to study. Quora articles are awesome for that. You can find things of interest all over the place if you just type in some keywords in your target language. It'll pull up places where that word was used or where those words were used. So I'm just getting started with this a little bit. I wanted to make some arguments in favor of adding reading, seriously adding reading to your toolkit on the way towards your target language.